Okay, today we are taking a look at a watch that was very recently released and received quite a bit of criticism. Again, this is a second release by John Mayer and Hodinkee, and I'll try to make this video a little bit shorter since there's not too much to cover here. So I'll talk about the watch as I do some unboxing, and we'll look at the watch itself and do the usual comparisons. So John Mayer and Hodinkee actually just released this second iteration of their collaboration with G-Shock. And the packaging is actually really nice. There it is. They released one last year and it got a lot of criticism for two main reasons. First, it was the price, and we'll talk about that. And secondly, it was because it was just very limited. So these watches were both priced at around the usual stuff here. $180, I believe, is what I paid. A little bit more with shipping and taxes. But the main criticism that it drew was, and I think it certainly is a valid one, was the price. Because this is a standard, as I understand it, the standard 6900 watch with a different color palette. Now, for those that don't know, the standard 69 is pretty much the base model for a G-Shock. Here it is. The 6900 along with the 5600 are the standard ones. There it is. Actually really like this. This isn't exactly a white color, it's a little more close to kind of like eggshell or cream. Not really cream either, it's just not pure white, and the accents really do pop up very nicely. We'll take this out in natural light and see how that looks there. But it is a little off-white, just like the rest of the packaging, which is actually really nice. I really do like that. This outer box is quite nice too. So the criticism that it did draw was because of the price. These 6900s are pretty affordable. I think you get them for about $50, and these run you at $180. So the criticism, I think, is valid. The criticism is that saying that this is just false or pseudo hype, that you're paying for the name, and I think there's some truth to that. You are paying for the name. But what I would personally say to that kind of criticism is, I think that is the foundation to most G-Shock collecting. I have a Frogman right here that I wanted to bring out to compare the size to. But this is a standard Frogman that has all sorts of bells and whistles and functions and stuff. I love this watch. This is my traveling watch. I've had this for about 4 years and it's still running strong. But this one runs for about $400 through the gray market, closer to $700 retail through Casio. But again, with this watch, if I were to get, there are limited edition watches of this exact same thing, just with different color combinations, just like this one. And there are certain Frogmen that go for, I'm not exaggerating when I say $1,500, $2,000. That to me is a foundation of G-Shock collecting. Small differences in colors make a lot of difference for desirability in collectors. So to me, this isn't that new of a concept for G-Shock. And at $180, I don't think that is criminal. I don't think it's actually all that bad. And this is actually really nice. I really like the color combinations here. And again, ultimately, I think that is what you're paying for. While the differences are minimal, that is actually what you're paying for. And of course, everything is done fantastically with the colors coordinating here. The case and strap being off-white. The back LCD is also a nice tone of kind of orangish yellow. Tiny differences like this is what makes this desirable for a lot of people. And of course, there is the desire for it to be limited and wanting that limited. But as to where I stand on it, I don't think it's that big of a deal to pay $100 extra for, or $120 extra for this limited edition and this color coordination that you're not going to get absolutely anywhere. But I can also see how some people might not like that. And I think that goes tied with the second main criticism, which is the availability of these. These absolutely just fly off the shelves. The first one, like I said, there's a second release, and I'll post some pictures of the first one. I was also able to get a hold of that. The first one sold within a few minutes, and this one I actually didn't know. I don't know if they did some release hype like they did with the first one, but I wasn't really paying too much attention to it, and I just happened to be on social media at the right time when they announced it. I got on their website and bought it within a few minutes, but when I checked again, maybe 10 minutes later, they were sold out. And I think that's kind of the frustration of a lot of collectors that really do want this, but unless you're tied to your computer, you're not going to get one at retail. And of course, that's the other criticism, that these sell for twice, 3 times the price, gray market. So a lot of people pick these up and just flip them. But again, that's something that you encounter in pretty much every hobby. And I think the first one that was released last year, you can get those on eBay for about $400. So I wouldn't pay $400, but I'm happy to pay $180 for this. Again, I do see the criticism. I do think most of it is valid, but for $180, for effectively $100 extra, I'm getting a nice color combination that you're not going to find anywhere. Some pretty nice packaging over here. And to me, it's not absolutely crazy like a lot of people make it seem, if you're able to get it. I wouldn't pay $400 for this gray market, but I would pay the retail price. So that's really all I have to say on that subject. Pretty excited to finally get this one. I ordered it and I saw a lot of people started getting theirs way before I did. I got mine maybe a week and a half after purchasing, while others got it within a few days. But I finally have it and I'm pretty excited about that. But like I said, this is a standard 6900, the size, the case, and I wanted to really bring out the Frogman to really show how it's pretty substantive. The Frogman's absolutely enormous, and it is bigger than the 6900, thicker and bigger in size. And again, the Frogman can do just about everything any G-Shock can, while this one is just pretty standard, your typical stopwatch, alarm, countdown, things like that. Take a look at the backlight here. Standard backlight. See, and again, I could see the criticism. I could see how this is pretty standard, and really function-wise, this isn't much different than this watch. This is what, I paid $15 for this about 5 years ago. Function-wise, it's just about the same. They can do the identical things. The backlight, pretty much the same as this one. Again, I could see the criticism. I could see the frustration from people. But to me, I have no problem paying $100 for the exclusivity, the nice colors on it. And I hate to say it, and I hate to use this as an argument, but it will hold its value quite well. If at any time I do want to sell this, I can easily get what I want, what I paid for, and if I'm patient, I could probably get more, though I don't see myself flipping this one. So size-wise, here it is next to the Frogman. Bigger. The Frogman is bigger and more substantive too. But we'll throw it on the wrist to see how that wears. I do have very small wrist. People always ask me, and I forget to mention it, I have around a 6.5 inch wrist, maybe a little more, but not too much more. So let's throw this on the wrist and see how that wears. Yeah, on the wrist it wears just like any other G-Shock that I've owned. It looks a little bit bigger, mainly because it hangs off the top of the case because of the strap. But it wears relatively flat. The colors really do pop in the sunlight. The off-white really is accented. And again, I really do like this color combination. Overall, I'm pretty happy I was able to get this one. It will stay in my collection, at least for the short term, and we'll see where it goes from there. But again, I understand the criticism, the controversy, but personally, I don't have too much issue with it.